Well, it's the last days of the African Peace and Security Dialogue out in Magaliesburg. The gathering is hosted by former President Thabo Mbeki's Foundation, and a number of security experts and leaders from the continent are attending. Our reporter Khayelihle Khumalo is there and joins us now with an update. So, Khaya, of course, the summit is concluding today. What has been deliberated, in particular, pertaining to issues of peace and security in the region?
Well, undoubtedly, Alicia, I think there's a very clear understanding that for Africa really to realize their full potential, the issue of peace and security remains an absolutely sacrosanct issue. So a lot of issues really have just been broached, looking at the current hotspots in the continent. But of course, joining us now really to shed more light is the Liberian Defense Minister, Geraldine Janet George. Once again, Minister, thank you so much for your time. And I would imagine that this is such a very important gathering as we look at the issue of peace and security. So far, from your perspective, what have you gained here, Minister?
Thank you so much. From this dialogue, we have come to understand what are some of the major causes that the continent of Africa is denied peace. And we have come to understand some of the solutions, if not all, some of the solutions to these problems. And we hope that as we go back to our various countries, that we will implement some of these decisions that will be taken here to bring peace to the continent of Africa.
Minister, let's look at Liberia. Geographically, you are in West Africa. We've seen a wave of coups, attempted coups. How are things in Monrovia?
Monrovia is good. Monrovia is good. We are happy.
And obviously, I would imagine that there's quite a lot to be learned, especially when we know that when you talk about peace and security, development. I mean, if you don't have those things, you can talk about Agenda 2063, you can talk about the Continental Free Trade Area, but you can't really go really far.
Monrovia, Liberia is doing fine on the line of peace. We don't have extended threat. We have internal threat, that is the issue of drugs, the issue of illegal activities, weapons, persons. So these are the things that we are faced with. And we have our neighboring countries that we work hand in hand with collaboration and information sharing to keep our side of Africa peaceful.
Minister, before I let you go, you're terribly young, but you're overseeing such a powerful portfolio. Defense, I mean, surely it must be a very monumental task to get up every day and oversee this portfolio.
Yes, indeed it is. I started from the Armed Forces of Liberia. I was enlisted into the Armed Forces of Liberia, and I spent 18 years. I became the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia. And then after our elections, the President for me worded and sent me to the Ministry of National Defense to serve as the Minister of Defense, knowing that when it comes to peace and security, I have like an insight. I have been to ECOWAS conferences, AU, so we're keeping the continent peaceful.
Okay. Certainly, Minister. Thank you so much indeed for your time. So, Alicia, that's a Liberian Defense Minister, really talking about their country, but also what they've gained so far, because it's all started yesterday here. And during the course of the day, we're going to hear from former President Thabo Mbeki. But another very key issue that has really featured quite prominently here, Alicia, is around the capacity of the African Union itself. And this is a very interesting time for the AU, as you know that they are on the verge of electing the new leadership. So it's been really interesting to hear from the delegates how they really speak about these qualities and the values that should be espoused by the new leadership of the AU in terms of energizing, invigorating this all-important institution. But by all accounts, it's a very interesting time here in Magaliesburg. With that, back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, Khayelihle Khumalo, the SABC News reporter, joining us in Magaliesburg at the Africa Peace Summit.